I want to change the face of humanity by helping people live healthier, happier, longer lives.
But how exactly does renowned human biologist Gary Brecka help people live healthier lives? Well, it all has to do with his 7-step transformation journey for longevity that you can start today.
All of this will cost you nothing, and it will skyrocket your mood and your emotional state, and it can rid the body of disease.
After all, most people want to make the changes to prolong their life, but just don't know where to start.
Most of the people listening to this podcast right now, I promise you, Eric,
they're walking around at about 50 to 55% of their true state of normal. They have forgotten what normal feels, and by the time they figure it out, aging has already taken a toll on their body. So watch this video till the end as we will break down his 3-step morning routine, 4 foods he recommends for vitality, 5 supplements he recommends for longevity, 3 essential blood tests to take, and an effective exercise routine he wants you to follow in order to live a long, disease-free life without the fear of your body giving up on you. But what makes Gary Brecka a world-known biohacker and a human biologist? He got his first bachelor's degree in biology from Frostburg State University and his second one in human biology from the National College of Chiropractic. Today he is the co-founder of 10 Times Health System together with billionaire Grant Cardone, inventor of Superhuman Protocol, and has a 20-year-long experience in biohacking.
we talk about everything from longevity, anti-aging, biohacking, and everything that makes regular human beings
ultimate human beings. Over his career, he has helped celebrities such as Steve Harvey, Kylie Jenner, Steve Aoki, P. Diddy, and UFC CEO Dana White, who met Brecka at a time when he was obese, insulin-resistant, and had sleep apnea and high blood pressure. Gary informed Dana that he only had 10 years to live, unless he made some very important changes in his lifestyle. That is how Dana White's transformational journey began. And today, with Gary's guidance, he has lost 36 pounds of weight, lowered his blood pressure, gotten rid of sleep apnea, and increased his life expectancy to 30 years.
To say that this guy has changed my life is the understatement of the century.
But what were the changes that Gary told Dana and often his other clients to make to reverse aging? Aging is the aggressive pursuit of comfort. Gary breaks down the transformation journey from unhealthy pursuit of comfort to superhuman health into 7 steps. The first 3 steps combined will kickstart your day. I promise you, if your morning's hard, your day will be easy. Start with 10 to 15 minutes of morning light exposure, if possible. There's something very special about first light. It not only resets cortisol and melatonin receptors, but for the first 45 minutes of the day, there's no UVA or UVB rays. Waking up with the sun also provides plenty of essential vitamin D for the body. Next, take 4 to 8 minutes when outside or after coming back inside and find a quiet corner where you can sit. That is where you will begin your breathing exercise. Gary says that it doesn't matter whether you breathe through your mouth or nose. What you need to do is get as much air in as possible.
And again, I want you to breathe in the most obnoxious form possible.
Break down this exercise into 3 rounds with 5 breaths each. Between each round, hold your breath for a couple of seconds. Add an additional breath each day per round until you finally reach 3 rounds of 30 breaths each.
So they're going to look like this.
Breath work improves your mood, reduces depression and anxiety, leads to good digestion, and overall can be great for emotional enrichment. What's next? The 3rd step of this morning routine is a cold morning shower. You need to do what Gary calls the cold plunge. At the end of your shower in the morning, turn the water to as cold as possible. Generally 48 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit or 8 to 10 degrees Celsius is the temperature Gary recommends for the water. Then inhale.
Just step right into that stream of water as you're exhaling and just deal with it.
For how long?
Starting at 1 minute of as cold a shower as you can take and working
your way up to 3 minutes is adequate to get the majority of the benefits from cold water exposure. This exercises your vascular system, forces your arteries to direct the blood to the core, and gets a rush of blood and oxygen to your vital organs and brain. So it's going to elevate your mood. It's going to improve your emotional state. Try to be in a bad mood getting out of a cold shower.
But I gotta tell you, man, that cold plunge has been a game changer for me. When you do it, your favorite phrase is, it becomes your drug of choice.
A cold plunge also activates brown fat tissue and kickstarts your metabolism to burn off body fat and gives you an increase in dopamine, which elevates your mood.
There is nothing that comes close to cold water immersion in terms of stripping fat off of your body.
Now that you've mastered morning sunlight exposure, breath work, and the cold plunge. Let's move on to the next step, and that will begin in the gym. Gary says that the quickest road to longevity is to lift heavy weights at least 3 times a week. So what are some of the best weight training exercises? Gary recommends that you start with farmer's carry, a full body exercise that works your core, glutes, and grip. You can also do goblet squats, which is a beginner-friendly exercise that strengthens your core and legs and straightens your back. Another option is to do CrossFit, which is a high-intensity training program. Make sure the instructors take into consideration your personal starting point, for example flexibility, heart health and strength levels, and then scale the workouts according to your current level of readiness. Finally, you can also try calisthenics, which is a group of exercises including pull-ups, chin-ups, dips, squats and push-ups. Remember, the main idea is to get your muscles to work through a full range of motion as it strengthens your muscles and improves your mobility. According to research, strength training only with limited range of motion eventually leads to joint instability. Weight training also lowers cholesterol and triglyceride levels and moves lymphatic fluid in your body. Means that if you want to live longer, lift weights. Now that we've focused on workouts, let's move on to Gary's 4th step in your transformational journey: optimizing your diet. There are 4 dietary choices that Gary Brecka continuously talks about as they boost your life expectancy and support your training and everyday activities. His choices are keto diet friendly, as he is a strong supporter of ketogenic diets. The first is using the right kind of oils. Gary is a big advocate for using extra virgin olive oil, a clean, real 100% extra virgin olive oil from room temperature. It is loaded with healthy fats and antioxidants, is anti-inflammatory in nature, and reduces the risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes. Stay away from processed vegetable oils like canola and sunflower oils, which wreak havoc on your health. The second part of Gary's diet is fatty fish. Fish is one of the proteins that is rich with nutrients such as omega-3 fatty acids and vitamin D. It lowers the risk of heart attacks and strokes, boosts brain health, and can even prevent the risk of depression. The third dietary choice Gary wants you to make today is to incorporate healthy fats into your diet. One way to do so is by eating almonds and avocados. The great thing about avocados is that they are rich in nutrients that are often lacking in most people's diets, including vitamin B6, magnesium, vitamin C, and folates. Finally, Gary believes that it is time to shift towards grass-fed beef as a healthier alternative. Grass-fed beef are night and day different from commercially raised cattle. Grass-fed beef tends to contain more vitamin A than grain-fed beef and is generally richer in antioxidants. These 4 ketogenic dietary choices, together with a variety of leafy green vegetables, should be a big part of your diet for longevity and vitality. So now we're halfway through Gary's transformational journey. The 5th step that Gary wants you to take is to try fasting.
Hunger is good for you. When we go for prolonged periods without eating, the body actually starts to eat itself, but it starts to eat the portion of yourself that's useless. We eat cells called senescent cells, useless, lazy cells in your bloodstream that are taking up space, not doing anything for you. And when we consume them, they're replaced by healthy, vibrant new cells.
One particular kind of fasting that Gary Brecka advocates for is a 3-day water fast. He believes that a water fast promotes autophagy, which prevents the risk of heart disease, cancer, and Alzheimer's. Water fasts may also lower blood pressure and improve leptin and insulin sensitivity. Of course, fasting, when done right, also allows for weight loss. However, it is important not to overdo it, since excessive fasting can also damage your body. Let's look at the 6th step in your journey to longevity: monitoring your health. Gary recommends 3 tests that you should take to keep a check on how well your body is doing. The first of which is a blood sugar test.
You need to get your blood tested. And we need a roadmap for our bodies like we have for our business.
It is very important to maintain the right level of blood sugar. Certain diabetes, such as type 3 diabetes, often leads to diseases such as Alzheimer's and dementia. You need to also keep a check on the level of insulin in your body. Too high and you might be heading towards danger. Once you know what your test says, it is important to know how to control your blood sugar levels. You can do it, for example, by exercising, increasing the fiber in your diet, and cutting down carb intake. Let's move on to the second test that Gary wants you to take. Check for nutrient deficiencies in your body. Once you find those deficiencies, it is time to make up for them through the right combination of diet and supplements. Finally, Gary recommends that you need to know the hormone balance in your body. And the third is hormone balance. Where are your hormones? Gary points out that as you age, your hormones start to drop, which can lead to a drop in your healthy red blood cells, and ultimately, that means that the oxygen isn't getting in your body as well as it should. You can correct your hormonal balance by adding more protein to your diet, weight training, maintaining a healthy body weight, and improving your gut health. The final step of our transformational journey is all about 5 supplements that Gary recommends.
The reason why people are not living at the absolute peak of their existence and not thriving is because there are simple raw materials missing from their body.
The first is the only vitamin our body makes on its own. We make this vitamin from sunlight and cholesterol. It is vitamin D3, which boosts your immunity and mood, reduces the risk of diabetes, Alzheimer's and heart disease, and can even support weight loss. Vitamin D3 cholecalciferol, the single most important nutrient in the entire human body. Next, you should take supplements for amino acid, which boosts the production of serotonin, prevents fatigue and improves athletic performance. I've done a lot of research into collagen-based protein. This adds 5 to 9 grams of protein to your morning routine. Good for hair, skin, nails, and your gut. Gut health is incredibly important. After that, he talks about vitamin B12 supplements, which help promote the regeneration of red blood cells, reduce age-related vision loss, and prevent the loss of neurons. Once that is done, let's move on to a supplement which lowers blood pressure, decreases the risk of heart disease and migraines, and improves your lesson and overall mood. That is magnesium. One form of magnesium to avoid, though, is magnesium oxide. This form of magnesium gets poorly absorbed and can upset your stomach and gut. Finally, Gary recommends zinc supplements, which improve the health of your heart, enable better blood sugar management, help fight acne, and improve your immune function. B12, magnesium, zinc, start with those. There you have it. These 7 steps are a huge part of what you need to increase your life expectancy by at least 20 years, like Dana White, according to Gary. Of course, several of these steps deal with reducing inflammation. Recently, a Harvard expert on longevity, Drive, David Sinclair, pointed out 7 of the biggest sources of inflammation. So make sure you watch our video where he explains those sources and how you avoid them to increase your chances of living over 140 years.